Sound test 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the monthly stream at Cleaving Thought from Bone. I am your host, Sociopathic, and I think we'll give it another 2 minutes or so and see if anybody else shows up. We are still a tad early, so I guess we'll just give it a bit, see if anybody else files in, and we'll kick it off. Hey there, everybody. All right. So, like I said a little bit earlier, welcome to Cleaving Thought from Bone, a monthly live stream with me, Sociopathic. Hope everybody's doing great tonight. I'm going to see if I can pull up the chat on the side here so I can just respond directly through the tower. So I got to keep looking over at my laptop. All right. On directly through the towers. There we go. Just got to mute myself. Sorry about that little feedback. Thank you very much, Kim, for the forgiveness, because I am sure that there's going to be some screw ups. Just happens. Happens when it's live. Get this adjusted so I can read it. Excellent, Wrathful. I'm very glad that you were lucky and you were able to make it. All right. So I guess we'll just go ahead and we'll get it out of the way. Ghost Story by L.W.Suton. Scientific inquiry is the examination and analysis of observable... Messed up on the first line. Excuse me. Let me start one more time. Scientific inquiry is the examination and analysis of observable phenomena. It has been stated by scientists the world over that the scientific method is only one method of examination, and although it is the best known approach currently, its dynamics are ill-equipped to deal with constructs that cannot be observed, such as the supernatural. This is not to say that the paranormal does not exist because science has yet to prove it. Instead, it means that the supernatural world may indeed exist, despite the implications of humans' best known method of inquiry, science. I like to think of myself as a scientist at heart, particular to the concepts of the social sciences. Even so, I am also a firm believer in ghosts and the happenings of paranormal events. As a child, the idea of an afterlife... Excuse me, I looked over at the chat. Let me try that one more time. Hello, Plethagon. Good evening. As a child, the idea of an afterlife and what it may consist of fascinated me. As I got older, I grew away from my childish wonders and studied more academic concepts. Attaining a relatively well-paying job as a psychiatry data technician, I found the pay and benefits substantial enough for satisfaction, but the performance of duty-related tasks, such as continual transcription, became monotonous after only a few months of employment. Single, I put some money aside for the procurement of equipment related to my passion, paranormal investigations. It's not something I had ever gotten paid to do before. Some college buddies and I used to dabble in it on the weekends, ones where we weren't consumed with coursework, and I found it invigorating, like rattling the dust off my childhood, which made me feel alive. After a few moments, excuse me, After a few months of saving for and buying equipment, and recruiting a couple of my friends, it wasn't long before we started researching for our first location to investigate. We knew it would have to be someplace relatively close by, as each of us had work the following Monday, and we knew that we needed to receive the appropriate permission first. I was hoping my investment would eventually pay off and allow me to swap my current, painfully boring profession for a more stimulating one. After much deliberation and a few phone calls, we were actually able to get a hold of the owner of an allegedly haunted property only a short 45-minute drive away. The site was a cliché abandoned mental institution. I had explored a few abandoned homes before. Once I even investigated an operational funeral home after hours, but nothing close to the size of the property of which we were now hoping to examine. The interior of the institution was recorded to be well over 150,000 square feet in space. Excuse me. The interior of the institution was recorded to be well over 150,000 square feet in space. What deemed the location investigatable was the boundless reports of unexplainable noises and apparitions that were reported to echo and roam about its corridors. Incidents ranged from occasional shadow figures always being seen with gleaming green eyes, to reported scratching and screaming noises, said to belong to the patients that used to reside within. The great thing about this place is that reports of supernatural phenomenon exceeded the period of abandonment and reached back to the time of operation. Many doctors and nurses employed at the institution reported seeing shadowy masses, usually first mistaken for a loose mental patient, and scratching within the walls. No reports of patients seeing or hearing anything unusual were ever logged, presumably because the mentally ill are prone to seeing and reporting such events, which are usually constructs of a diseased mind. With little research and excuse me once more. With a little research and determination, I was able to get in touch with a real estate broker employed by the agency whom currently owned the property. Representative of his organization, the man agreed to meet us in the morning of the investigation and also agreed to allow us to remain overnight, unchaperoned, assuming I was legit. Enthused, I contacted my cobbled team of companions and prepared myself for one hell of a weekend. We left early, meeting up at Kevin's house and hitting the open road as the sun was just beginning to rise. Sure enough, the man who had agreed to meet me was there, standing upon the steps in front, awaiting our arrival, just as he had promised. Kevin, Chuck, and Carla began unpacking the van we had arrived in, while I walked up to greet the man. I instantly recognized the vacancy of this place, as ours and his vehicle were the only ones to be seen in the gravel lot, marking the end of the long, bumpy driveway. Walking past his black caravan, parked only a few feet from our white one, I lifted a hand hello and approached him. He extended his own when I got close, initiating a resulting handshake. As he walked me through the building, he told me to always be vigilant of my step and surroundings, and divulged a few stories related to noises and shadow creatures, in accordance with the location in which they occurred, helping me to mark out the spots to be investigated closely later. We walked most of the first We walked most of the first and second floors, having to take the stairs as a result of the elevators not working. Easily excuse me, easily signified by both the lack of power and blatant abuse by vandals over the decades that the place sat forgotten by everyone, except local teenagers trying to score a good place for a beer party. Evidence of their presence was everywhere. Empty beer cans and cigarette butts littered the floor, amongst debris from crumbling plaster and fallen, deteriorated acoustical ceiling tile. Before long, we had made our way back into the lobby area, the crew all setting up various laptops, cameras, and other electrical equipment that would serve as our investigative tools. Once we were set and the broker left us to do our thing, we spent the rest of the morning and afternoon exploring and mapping ideal locations for EVP recordings and camera equipment. Combined with these tools, one thermal camera, and an EMF device for each of us, we were primed and set for recording and documenting before the onset of darkness. We spent hours that evening combing the grounds in groups and separately. No scratching, screaming, or anything worth noting, paranormally speaking. It was about 1:17 a.m. when the stationary camera number 3, positioned at the end of the second floor's western corridor, began blipping with static before the monitor went completely black. Alone in the lobby, now our base of operations, I radioed the rest of the team, now exploring the east wing of the first floor, about the malfunction that I was heading over to take a look and possibly fix the issue. They affirmed receipt of my transmission, and off I went. The stairs creaked beneath my feet, each plank groaning with age. Once at the top of the steps, using my flashlight, I made my way to the left and down the western corridor. Doors on each side, leading to rooms previously occupied by previous residents, all open, most of which torn from a hinge, hanging in some odd fashion. The building looked as old and decrepit as one would expect a haunted structure to look, predictable in its appearance. Despite as creepy a feel the place had, nothing frightening or physics-defying occurred on my way to the stationary camera at the end of the long hall. Excuse me, lost my place. Hi, Dale, how are you? Sorry about the mess up. Not so much as a sound, except for that of my own. Nothing, as I approached and heard a loud bang to my left. I turned around to see a man in a dirty brown coat run out from an open door behind me and take off down the hall, towards the stairs. "Hey!" I yelled, ignoring the thud noise behind me, assumedly that of the camera being tipped and knocked to the floor, and I began running after him. He proved much faster than I, and was out the front door before I was even able to make it to the top of the stairs. The building was supposed to be empty. This guy was likely trying to mess with our equipment, providing us with what we would think of as possibly supernatural instances that were nothing more than a prank, designed for an unknown end. I tried radioing the team, but my walkie wasn't working for some odd reason. I figured maybe the guy had placed a jammer somewhere in the building. After checking the whereabouts of my team on the monitors in the lobby, I headed towards their direction in the eastern wing on the ground floor. I was only about halfway to where they were depicted in the monitor when I realized they must have heard the commotion, because I saw all 3 of them coming forth from the darkness and running in my direction. As I jogged up to them, I tried to explain what had happened and that we should... Excuse me. As I jogged up to them, I tried to explain what had happened and that we should call someone, but they just ran past me, ignoring my words. They must have been really shaken up, and more so than I, because I couldn't help but notice the lights on the EMF devices that each were holding, blinking with activity from what I understand to be the first time in the whole time we had been there. They really didn't seem to care or notice. As they ran by and increased the distance between them and I began to jog after them and call out. That's when I noticed something odd. Their footsteps, their voices. Everything had an echo. Everything except now my voice. I could no longer hear the reverberation of my vocal cords being refracted off the empty floors and ceilings. As I approached the well-lit lobby, I saw each one of them check the black monitor linked to the camera upstairs before instantly rushing up the staircase and to the second floor. The monitor still black as I passed by. I followed them to the camera stationed at the end of the hall on the second floor's west wing. I traced their path, and my previous one, back to the point of which I had encountered the man. At first, as I approached them, I thought their flashlights were shined and focused upon the camera that had been knocked over. "Hey guys," I spoke once again, but no one responded. No one even looked at me. I peered around Kevin's left side to see a frightening sight that shook me to my very soul. It took me a while to grasp. I wouldn't believe it as I began shouting to my friends that I was right there, my attempts deemed futile by a further lack of response. Slowly, I began to wrestle with the concept my perception was shoving into my face, making it completely undeniable. Carla called the police, and they were there in about 30 minutes. Not long after, the building was flooded with searchlights, detectives, and yellow caution tape. Upon investigation of the surrounding rooms and the video footage we had captured, I overheard a policeman tell my 3 friends that the man in the brown coat, seen leaving the lobby from camera 5, is named Arnie Benchman. He was currently wanted in relation to a string of home invasion cases and had been on the run from police for a few months. Search of the rooms, nearby the upstairs camera, revealed a room in which he had been squatting in, hoping to avoid detection. Apparently, he perceived our presence as a threat and was attempted to sneak away when I happened by him. Startled, the man shot me, resulting in the thump I had heard and the corpse that my friends had discovered. I saw it for myself. I lay up there, motionless on the floor, blood persistently leaking from the wound in the back of my broken skull, eyes red and bloodshot, skin an unnatural shade of gray. At the time, it seemed like that night lasted forever. Now, looking back, thinking about the endless days, weeks, and years that have passed since then, it looks like only moments for me. I cannot leave, and this place has forever become my eternal tomb. Excuse me, let me do that one over because the dog flopped on the floor. I cannot leave, and this place has forever become my eternal tomb. Science may not be able to prove its existence, but I know that the paranormal is real. I have become a part of it. And that is Ghost Story. Yes, that was my puppy that flopped on the floor. Though he's not a puppy. He is a 12-year, 13-year-old black lab. So when he flops, we just let him flop, and I'll just read the line over. But yeah, hopefully you guys liked the story. I do apologize for the multitude of mess ups, but I think at this point you guys have come to expect them a bit. So thank you for stopping back in and listening to another live reading. I'm gonna go ahead and take like a 60-second break. I still will be here. I'm just gonna take a sip of this soda and have a little relaxation moment, little whoo saw, and I'll be right here, right back, whatever the case may be. All right, so a drink has been acquired, and I am back. So yeah, and I guess the dogs are a bit of a surprise. I guess I didn't tell you that there was a chance of a dog flopping in the background. So fair warning for next time. So I hope everybody had a good day today. I kind of played hooky from work yesterday. Hope nobody that I work with ever watches this, but I seriously doubt it, since most people that know my real name do not know that I do this at all, and most people that know me through this medium don't know my real name. So worlds are pretty separate. But yeah, played hooky from work yesterday. Been pretty burnt out. I work like 57 hours a week in a 5-day work schedule. So yeah, woke up yesterday morning and just did not feel like coming in. My boss was out of the office for like a week, and he came back yesterday, and he can be kind of a grr. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go in today. So I stayed home, and I finally beat Epic Mickey for the Wii. Yay, go me. Finally sat down. Bought it like 7 years ago. I really haven't played it until now. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm doing good. Plethagon, doing great. And yeah, so thank you very much, guys. And I do want to remind you that yes, there are quite a few mess ups, probably about 11 or so in there. Um, but those will all be cleaned out, edited out, and I will be re-uploading that story with a few sound effects and music like my other stories that I've done so far. So if the live reading's not quite your thing, you can expect a more traditional presentation of that story upcoming in about a week or two. Hey, Gothic. Totally glad you made it. Sweet. Lots of people are filing in. This is awesome. But yeah, so now that the story portion's out of the way, if you guys have any questions for me, any questions about the channel, anything like that, I mean, please fire away. I mean, that's what the Q&A is kind of for. You ask the question and I give the answer. Yeah, they can be great, especially for like the pros out there, like MCP and creeps and stuff like that, because they don't really mess up quite a lot. I mean, they do, but not as often as I do. But then again, that's what editing is for. So, but yeah, by all means, if you guys have any questions at all, but I guess I can continue on with my daily events and whatnot. I do them once a month, John. Typically at the end of the month, and it's typically the last Friday of the month. Though July's or not July's, June's was, I think, a little late. Or no, that's right. It was in June, but it was on a Saturday because I went to go see fireworks on a Friday with my family, so I had to push it to a Saturday. But most of the time, live readings will be Fridays, 9 p.m., last Friday of the month. And I always, a week beforehand, go ahead and promote it and tweet it and stuff like that. So um, as long as you have the notifications set, you should be, I should do a pretty good job of helping you to make you aware. Plus, obviously, I have a great team like Mandy Mortem that goes right on Twitter and starts pushing out the fact that I'm streaming and stuff, which really helps to bring people into the stream, which I very much appreciate, Mandy. Thank you very much. My favorite food. Well, technically, my favorite food is linguine and white clam sauce, but buffalo wings don't stand a chance. And I am very fond of pizza as well. But I mean, really, who's not fond of pizza? I mean, I guess there's a few out there, but let's face it, those are few and far between. Actually, John, guests is something that I was trying to get on here for a few. Um, and it's something I'd like to do again. It's something that I want to bring to you guys. Is that one of the monthly live streams? Not a Locust Lake story, but a story like that that features multiple voice lines with coded voice parts. I actually had a story in mind for like 10 different voice actors, and I was going to send that, quote unquote, script out to all the narrators that were going to be in the live stream, and then we were just going to live read it, like we're reading off the script. I'll read my part, and then it becomes we get to somebody's line, they spit out the line, and we keep going like that. And yeah, there'd be a lot of screw ups and a lot of laughing, but that was actually what kind of deterred most of the people that I talked to about it. Um, Most of the people I talked to were like, "No, we'll mess up all the time," and stuff like that. But I figured that would be kind of the fun for you guys. Getting all of us here together and kind of bearing ourselves right on our sleeves for all of you to see. That's kind of would be the deal. So I agree with you, Cassandra, that it would be epic. Oh, I'm sorry, you were talking about a collab with GM. Who is GM? You're gonna have to go ahead and spell that one out for me. Yes, I know you were one of them that was all for it, Gothic, and I do give you props for that. So maybe sometime if I have like a one-on-one thing, maybe I can have you on for that. But the story that I was talking about was Doughboys Coast to Coast, which is about people all riding on a bus together. That's where the story takes place, and obviously when you're on a bus full of people, there's a lot of lines. So there was like a good 10 to 12 people that I was gonna. Oh, GM Danielson. I don't think I've heard of him, but I possibly will. But yeah, so that story, I needed a lot of narrators, and yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that most people said no. Even Doughboy, the guy who wrote the story, I asked him to go on stream with me, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And I was like, "Hey, we should read Coast to Coast, and you could take a part." And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that." So I mean, he was pretty nervous. But yeah, no, I'll definitely count you in, Gothic, if that ever happens, and that is something that I would like to bring to you guys. You'll be in it for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of GM Danielson, which is surprising to me because I love the Karate Kid. Go ahead and I'm going to press mute here for like 2 seconds because I must partake in the relaxation. My family's like, they know what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You're all cool people. And I truly believe that you are all very cool people. So thank you very much for being here and helping me increase my watch time by hanging out for the stream for an hour. It actually really does help. In the past, let's see, I started in the middle of April with this new channel. So April to May to June to July. So by the middle of July, we had hit 100,000 watch minutes. And in order to monetize, I need to hit 240,000 watch minutes in 1 year. So in 3 months, we came close to half of that, which is really good, which means in 6 months, we'll be at about 200,000 with only 40,000 to go at that rate, which means probably about 7, 8 months, I will have hit that requirement. So once again, everybody who's been watching my content, liking it, pushing it, sharing it with people, all that stuff, I mean, super, super greatly appreciated. This channel, I am really hoping to monetize, so I can maybe get a little bit back. And who knows, if I ever make it big, maybe I can quit my slave driving job. But I don't know. I do kind of like it. That then I did not mute myself. So if you know what I was doing, well, yeah, good for you, I suppose. But yeah, I promise I will go check out GM Danielson. Probably not right after the stream. I do have to do a little bit of editing on the video for not tomorrow, but the following Saturday. And I also have to get my fishing pole restrung because I plan on getting up at like 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to go fishing. No, I do not. Well, funny you should ask, Fuzzums. My job is not driving slaves, but I do hire construction workers and put them out to dangerous, dirty work sites to build buildings. So in a way, I do drive slaves. That's just a joke, by the way. If I don't want to offend anybody out there. And I was a construction worker for 15 years. So any construction workers out there that might take offense to that, I'm one of you. It's like me making an Italian joke, which I am Italian. So I hope that's acceptable. Okay. So John knows what we're doing over here. Cool beans. It's okay, Victoria. Perfectly fine. You can go back and re-listen to the story if you want to. Like I was telling everybody else, there will be an edited version with music and sound effects and stuff like that that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. No, it's not going to take the place of a Saturday video. I think that would be a cheap shot to you guys since you already listened to the story. So it'll be like one of those special Wednesday miscellaneous uploads. But yeah, no, welcome to the chat. I am a fan of anime, but not all anime. I did finally watch Death Note. I think it was like last year. My teenagers got me into it. Was really good. I really liked it until like the last few episodes, and then the ending was terrible. So I didn't. It's not one of my favorite animes, but I really like Full Metal Alchemist. I've seen both versions of the show, all the movies, the live action. I love it all. Fairy Tale, I really like that. Really like that show. My daughter and I made it up to episode 196 about a year and a half ago, and that was when they had where they ended the English dubbed versions of the episodes. So I wasn't really able to watch them anymore unless I was reading them, and she was a little bit younger then. But now I've noticed that they fixed that, and they have episodes like up to 277 all dubbed in English. So can't wait to get back into Fairy Tale and watch the next, what was it, like 80 episodes or so. So yeah, pretty psyched. And then there's Inuyasha, really big Inuyasha fan. Haven't seen the whole series. It's not on Netflix, but it's a really good show like that. So yeah, I like anime. It depends on the anime. I agree, Gothic. Death Note was awesome. Didn't like the ending. And I know that they basically told you how the show was going to end in the first episode, so, it kind of softened that blow, but still, I didn't like it. Should have been a part two. Oh, man, yeah, Fairy Tale is absolutely fantastic. Like, Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite anime of all time. Fairy Tale is a very close second. And then everything else is kind of, whether I like it or not, is a little bit below that. Yeah, but Inuyasha is a really good anime, and maybe the reason why it doesn't compete for those first top places is because I haven't seen the whole series, but it is a fantastic show. Hey, Swedish mom. Wow. So this is 9:30 at night, which means, let me see, 3:30 in the morning for you. Is that correct? Black Butler. That rings a bell. I think I've seen some of that as well. But yeah, no, big fan of anime. Don't know them all, but there are certain animes that if I like it, I really like it. Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. Now that is a diehard right there. Blue Exorcist. Again, that rings a bell. Was that ever on Adult Swim? Blue Exorcist? Because if it was, I've probably seen a couple episodes. I would say I'm a bigger fan of Marvel than DC. But again, not a huge comic book fan. Actually, comic books themselves, not really a fan at all. Just never really got into them. But as far as the universe, the superhero shows and cartoons, movies, stuff like that, yeah, I would say I favor Marvel a little bit more than DC. And favorite superhero, by the way, is Spider Man. Yeah, 3:33 a.m. I mean, I really like, some of the people that most of the people that I listen to on YouTube do, or even just, YouTube news, like video game news. Obviously, if you guys check out like in my liked playlist, I don't know if you have access to that or not. If you don't, it's probably a good thing because it's it's full. I mean, yes, of horror narrations and stuff like that, but it is also very full of like video game news, Switch news, the new Switch Mini that's coming out, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't think I would stay up till 3:30 in the morning. I think I would catch it the next day. So very much appreciated for sure. Yeah, Rathwell approves of the Spider-Man. That's awesome. Spider-Man's great. Hey, Autumn. That's all right. You're actually here with you got 25 minutes. I'm still gonna be on. I'll be on till 10 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Zone. So another 25 minutes. And obviously the live narration of the story will be there when we're all done here. And there will also be an edited version coming out soon. So if you don't want to listen to the live reading with all the screw ups, there will be an edited version coming out shortly, probably in like a week or two. Far From Home rings a bell. I don't think I've seen it. I think I've seen previews for it. But if you recommend it, Shining, I'll certainly give it a watch. Yeah, my nerves haven't been allowing me to sleep Swedish, so I guess I can understand that. Insomnia sucks, but I'm here to help keep you entertained. Really, Fuzzy? It's 3:30 in the morning for you as well? I did not watch Into the Spider-Verse. I heard that was pretty good though. Joey's Nightmares. That's another channel I'm gonna have to check out. But first, definitely GM Danielson. That came very heavily recommended. So definitely gonna have to check him out. I thought the newest Spider-Man movie was Homecoming. Is that what you mean by Into the Spider-Verse? Or is it like a cartoon movie that came out after that movie? Because I did see Spider-Man Homecoming, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. What scares me? Snakes. Snakes absolutely terrify me. And heights. Not a big fan of heights. In fact, I am phobic, so I kind of freeze up, can't move. Hey, busy. What's up? Glad you could make it, man. Oh, Far From Home. It's not Homecoming. Sorry. I should know that. It has been a long day for me, but yes, I did see it, and it was really good. It was really good. So yeah, big fan of Spider-Man. I mean, I like all superhero movies. Deadpool's were pretty good. My wife kind of got me into those. Not a big fan of the new Venom movie, or the one that just came out, a year or so ago. Uh, there are some people that I know that live with me that really like that movie. I'm just not wasn't the biggest fan of it. They brought it too much out of said Spider Verse and just made it its own thing, and it didn't really quite work for me. Yeah, no, snakes and heights. They are my two biggest phobias. Beyond that, believe it or not, public speaking. Terrified of public speaking. That's why I get so nervous doing live streams. I don't know if you could really consider this public speaking. I mean, I would. You are the public, and you can hear me speaking. So this would be public speaking. So I think that does qualify. But it is, I guess, better than face to face. But I still do get very nervous. We're busy, stuck at work. It sucks. I was stuck at work today from 6:30 to 6. Supposed to start at 7, but I slept like crap last night, so I just kind of got up super early and was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in. So 6:30 to 6. Yeah, I know, but and I appreciate that, Wrathful. I do. I just I know how sometimes when someone screws up, it can really jar you out of a story. Not naming names, but there are some narrators out there, big ones, that just leave their screw ups in, even if they're few and far between. They'll just leave the screw up in and just go over it. And yeah, I guess it's authentic. But if you're really into a story and your mind is really painting that picture and you're there, and then there's and then reads the line over, it jars you out. And that's kind of what I'm apologizing for, because it is kind of hard to go ahead and just build that world for someone in their mind, um, and then just and keep them there. Unless if you don't, if you mess up, it's hard to keep them in that place. Well, I would suggest winning the lottery first, then quitting your job busy, not the other way around. Just saying, it might work out better. I tried that once, quitting my job and then looking for another one. Not a smart idea. I was much younger though, so we'll give myself a little leniency. Yeah, I guess some readers pick stories with mistakes to read. But if I pick a story with mistakes in it, um, I won't read them. I'll kind of skip over them or clean it up or something along those lines. I've actually, again, not naming names, but I know there are some people that will go out and find like really poorly written stories and then read them verbatim how they're written and like kind of make fun of them as they're reading them. It's like, like a joke reading. And I don't find it funny. Maybe it's just me and I'm not trying to be a party pooper. But you don't know who wrote those stories. It could be a 5-year old. It could be like me, a 5-year old me putting his story out there, which, yeah, I mean, I've always liked to write stories, but I mean, I don't really even consider myself that good now. But trust me, I was even worse back then. I was 5. And I could imagine putting something like that on the internet and then, oh, look, blah, blah, blah is reading my story and getting really excited. And then hearing them make fun of it. Like, that's mean. It's not funny. It's mean. So that's another reason why I don't like go out and find stories on purpose to with mistakes in them, because I'm an author and I consider myself at least an amateur author. Um, and I know that could be very hurtful and damaging to somebody's motivation if they want to continue writing as they, get older and get better. They might not want to do it anymore because of that fear of something like that happening. So, yeah, you will always see me apologizing for mistakes. I want to bring you the best content that I possibly can. I do realize that my content is not perfect. To some people, might not even be considered super special or really any different. I do try to bring something a little different to the table, even if it is more a different feel than something that really jumps out at you. I know there is like, oh yeah, he adds the live intros and the live outros to his videos, and then might not be like that big of a thing. But again, I think that just more or less contributes to the feel of what I'm trying to accomplish of a weekly TV show type vibe. My favorite creepypasta story, it's a toss up really. I have quite a few favorites. I love Kosciuszko. That's a really good one. But one that really just jumped to mind, the first thing that came to my mind, Pen Pal. Pen Pal has got to be. It's definitely up there. Pen Pal in 1999, which I can't really find anywhere anymore because somebody's going on a rampage and removing all the links for 1999. Bye, Swedish. Um, have a great night. Get some or morning. Get some rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully at 2 o'clock in the morning during the premiere. Absolutely busy. Have a great night, man. Again, hope to see you tomorrow at the premiere. But either way, glad you came. Thank you very much for stopping by. Very much appreciated, man. Thank you. And if you guys don't know horror readings by Busy, seriously, great narrator. Go check him out. It's a great guy. Yes, 1999 led a lot of people to my channel. It was actually the first topic, I guess you could say, I covered. For those of you that don't know, um, I got into 1999 when when I just got done with my bachelor's degree. I kind of really got into the story. I listened to it a couple times while I was working doing construction, and I did some research, and then I had some really like creepy instances happen to me. People emailing me claiming to be Mr. Bear and stuff like that, and it was actually there was some pretty creepy stuff about it. One of my friends ended up finding this guy that was sending me emails, his IP address, and it ended up being like 5 miles from down the road from where I actually live in real life. So I kind of guess you could say I had kind of a stalker, and spawned a whole series of 1999 stories. And yeah, now all those cannot be uploaded, even though they are, I guess you could say they are fan fiction. Again, I guess that's the category that they would classify under, maybe fan nonfiction. But yeah, I was told I'm not allowed to have those up anymore either. And this isn't by somebody of any authority, just somebody that can say that he can remove, report the videos that I put up. And you know how YouTube is. They'll just take my channel down because it's exactly what happened last time to do something else. So I can't put the 1999 stories up. So I have them all downloaded. I mean, all I would have to do is just re-upload them in all their ancient, terrible narration glory from my really old days of narrating now. Um, but yeah, I can't. So I do have them all. So if you ever meet me in real life, I can always, give them to you on a flash drive or something like that. And maybe at some point I'll, open a different channel, or maybe I'll send them to a friend and he can upload them to his channel privately and, send me an email. Maybe I can send you links so you can download them as they're, unlisted or private videos. But you'd have to listen to them by yourself. And yeah, can't use them to garnish views anymore. Can't just put them up. No, I mean the stories themselves, maybe. I think the really scary part about them is that, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys anymore that every single thing and every one of those stories absolutely happened. But I will tell you that in every one of those stories, most of it is true. I did embellish a little bit on a few things, um, but most of it is very, very true. And I think the truth behind those stories is what really gave them that creepy feel, because while I was writing them, I was kind of creeped out myself. Podcast, again, I'm not really sure if I want to get into podcasting. It's something that I've been dabbling with, but 5 days a week, 57 hours a week. In those 5 days, I'm the only person in my house that drives. I take care of two daughters. My wife lives with me. Got grocery shopping, lawn to mow. I do have a house, cars to maintain, and do have to write and narrate for my channel. And also not just narrate. There's also editing and sound effects and uploading, and I mean all that stuff, rendering. It all takes tons of time. So I in order to do that, I would literally have to just start taking time away from my family or my personal relaxation time playing video games. I just have to give video games up completely. And it's just not a step I want to make right now. I feel that I've already got more than enough, probably too much on my plate as it is. And I don't want to give up any of what I have. Hang on to it all for dear life and time manage like a like a son of a gun. Almost almost blurted out the F word, and I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. Um, but yeah, so don't know if I'll be doing podcasts at least anytime soon. Like I said, if I start making money off of the channel eventually, get big enough, quitting my job, I don't know if I would do that. But I do know that I would take that money and I would invest it back into my YouTube channel, and I would start bringing you guys some really good content. I've always wanted to do some live action stories, basically like a silent movie. Like I'll be narrating, and but live action people acting it out. I mean, how cool would that be? A live action Locust Lake, where I'm sitting there talking, and you're watching all these people camping and getting slaughtered with all the visual effects, the blood, the flesh ripping, all of it. Still all the sound effects and just my narration over top of it instead of their talking over top of it. Um, it's always been something I've really wanted to do, but that would take time. That would take a lot of time. It's time that I just do not have. That's something that, yeah, I'd be be a lot easier to podcast. But like I said, if I ever start making money off the channel, that's eventually, that's like the holy grail. That's what I'd like to do, is start producing those kinds of films. Yeah, I guess I could, Plethagon. Um, Again, I might. Still an extra upload, and still a little bit of tweaking. Still have to save an audio version instead of a video version, so it's rendering. Not talking a ton of time, but like I said, time management, and I'm thin, so there's only so much I can. It is something that I might do, and again, that's something I have been dabbling with the idea of. Um, but that's why I said I'd have a much better chance at podcasting than I would at producing, live action, live action stories. There goes my voice. I'm cracking. I'm not a teenager, I swear. I mean, in also, I'm going back to the Locust Lakes themselves being movies. For those of you that don't know, the very first Locust Lake that was written ever is actually the one that's coming out tomorrow. The Silence of Locust Lake. It was written by Doughboy, and it was before I ever had a YouTube channel. He wrote it as a movie script. He always wanted to make a movie of the Silence of Locust Lake. It's been a goal. Um, so that's kind of where they got their beginnings anyway. So turning them into live action films would be very, very easy. He's already got most of the practical effects worked out in his head of how he could get it done. It's just a matter of us doing it. And the fact that he lives in Washington State now, and I live in New York, basically on opposite ends, fundamentally on opposite ends of the country, would be very difficult for us to do that. And again, just don't have a ton of money and even less time than I do money. So life is hard for the horror enthusiast for sure. I will say this though, you guys have been helping me promote my channel, which has really helped. It's helped take a load off of my back. I know that when I first started Sociopathic Pasta, that it took me a very long time to go ahead and get that going. Didn't really have a lot of people that knew me. Didn't have a lot of people that helped promote me. Did a lot of promoting myself, and it took me, over a year to reach just about 1,000 subscribers. So thanks to you, we are where we at now, and halfway through the Watchmen, it's already of being able to monetize the channel, and yes, over 1,000 subs. So we are well underway. It's been you, and another big part is my family. My kids, when it's time to narrate or like this, I'm live streaming right now in my living room, and my family, kids, and especially my wife, are always very helpful and really do their best to try and do what they can to help me go ahead and get it done. So big shout out to them as well. And I understand what you mean, Plethagon, about self promoting does feel a little bit wrong. Um, but do it, man. No one, the way I always figured it is I honestly believe that I have pretty good content. I know I would want to watch it. I know I really miss Tales from the Crypt and Twilight Zone and all the really cool old horror shows that used to be on until they canceled them all. And I know I would want to watch me. I know that a lot of other narrators read the same stories that other people read, and once you listen to some person's channel, especially a really popular channel, and basically all their videos, you go to someone else's channel and you're listening to the same videos again, just somebody else narrate them. And that was just something that I wanted to contribute. I wanted to put more stories out there, and I wanted to be able to say, hey, listen, if you want a new story every week, you don't got to worry about me rereading something that somebody else has read on another channel. You don't got to watch somebody else's channel, no matter how big they are, and then come over to me and find the same stories. You'll find all different stuff original from any place else on the internet. And that's what I think that was big for me. So if you're gonna feel confident about your product, I know if again I was a viewer and that I didn't know that this channel existed, I would want someone to tell me. I'd want someone to say, "Hey, you should come watch this. This is like Tales from the Crypt. You might enjoy it, even if it's the guy that makes it. I would still enjoy it. I wouldn't get mad at him for it. That's just the way I look at it. So I just try and bring my content to as many people as I can because I know that some of them will really enjoy what I have to offer. Thank you very much, Plethagon. Again, that's thanks to you and everybody else that's in here, and everybody else that's not in here that's going to watch this later and whatever. Big thanks. And again, thank you for the promotion as well. That's huge. I can't thank you guys enough for helping to get me back on my feet. I know I've said it before, but it's definitely worth saying again. When I lost my channel, 4.5 years, just about 20,000 subscribers, when that got deleted, I was very, very upset. And I was very helpful or very thankful that a friend of mine let me go ahead and use his YouTube channel and alter it to my liking. So that way I'm not breaking any kind of YouTube policy. I'm basically just on his channel. Being me, being able to bring you my content. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Because obviously, technically, if you're under investigation by YouTube, you're not allowed to start up another YouTube channel. So, well, I didn't want to be out of it, and he wanted me to, obviously do narrating for him. So, side channel type deal. But yeah, he's basically letting me helmet, but he curtails the content in what goes up on the channel. So no 1999s, no Slenderman stories, like what twisted branches weave. Absolutely love that story. Can't put it out there because someone could report it for being Slenderman 4.5 years from now and say they're going to report my channel. The video story for tomorrow, it starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time. So yeah, 8 o'clock New York time at night. We begin The Silence of Locust Lake, featuring Pennytails Up, Gothic Rose, Darkness Tales, Busy. There's Dark Resonant. Doughboy's going to be in it. My wife plays a part, and so does my daughter. And yeah, so I hope you guys stop in. A lot of help with the voice actors in that story. So thank you everybody that contributed. A lot of love goes in. I mean, a lot of love goes into all my videos, and that's the truth. But there is a ton of love and work and effort that go into the Locust Lake stories. So, oh yes, Dale, Locust Lake, The Silence of Locust Lake, tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Excuse me, I'm going to take a small bite of my pizza. Not a problem, Victoria. So yeah, this is basically the 2 minute and a half warning. We'll be shutting down the stream here pretty soon. So if you guys want to ask me anything else real quick, let you go ahead and get it off your chest. And I'm gonna have to unfortunately say my goodbyes. Dark Resonant Plethagon. He does both. There's no reason that you can't do both. I say go for it. Thank you very much, Autumn. I will miss you too. But again, hopefully I will see you again tomorrow at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a live chat for the premiere for anybody that hasn't attended yet, doesn't quite know how the premiere works. Premiere is actually a lot like this. You just won't hear me talking live. I will be with you in the chat, and we will all listen to the video when it premieres at 8 o'clock. And this happens every single Saturday, just like a TV show. So we can all experience the story for the first time together. I guess you could say I like really any type of horror story. I don't like shock horror. That's something I'm not a big fan of. Rape, uh, really severe child abuse, or just, I don't know. I guess I could say I don't like torture stories, but who doesn't love cupcakes? But I think you know what I mean. Like shock just for the point of shock. Um, it doesn't work for me. That's something I'm real big on. I'm not saying I don't have dark elements in my stories. If anybody's ever heard Dead Girls Shouldn't Have Sex, written by me, L.W.Suton. It was produced um, late in season 4 and was one of the last stories 2-3 months before my channel got deleted. So I don't know how many people listened to that story or even remember it. But yes, that is a very twisted, shocking story, but with a purpose. I mean, there's got to have a purpose to it. So, but I mean, slasher horror, I'd say that's my favorite. Obviously, I mean, you can tell the hockey mask on myself, on my character, sociopathic. Um, Friday the 13th is huge for me, but really any slasher, the Halloweens, Texas Chainsaw Massacres, I'm into them all. Big fan of 80s horror, big fan. Sounds like a plan, Autumn. You'll be there in spirit. And excellent, Dale. I will see you there for sure. That's yes, set your reminder. But I'm sure my Twitter following will definitely go ahead and push the content on Twitter and just remind everybody it's starting. Always a big help. Very much appreciated. Oh, and you remember that's what you're referring to. Dead girls shouldn't have sex. That's what you remember. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess those that listen to it, yeah, I guess it's not all that hard to and all that easy to forget. The most basic comment, generalized comment I got on that story was, "Oh my god, that was really effing disgusting. I feel like I need a rape shower. I loved it." Like I must have got that response more than any other response to that story. Really gross. Need a rape shower. I loved it. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I was going for. Yeah, it shows that, yeah, you were really grossed out by the shock factor, which is good. That was supposed to be disgusting. So I was glad that I was able to convey that. And you liked the story behind it because it was gross, but it had a purpose and it delivered what it was supposed to do. Thank you very much, Wrathful. That is kind of what I'm going for. I don't know about going for the best series, but to be considered more television than just your average horror narration or creepy pasta channel. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for, is a TV show feel. So 8 o'clock, same creepy time, same creepy channel every Saturday. And with that, hate Clockwork. Yeah, I think I've heard that one. And again, not a big fan. And it might not be the one I'm thinking about, but still. That kind of stuff, I think I know what you're implying at least, is Wrathful. So yeah, that not a big fan of shock horror for sure. But yeah, so I think I'll go ahead and I'll end it here. And I thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions. Helping me really go ahead and keep this live stream going for a full hour. Again, if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you next month at the live stream. I'll see if I can get a collaboration put together if possible. If not, please forgive me. And I will see everybody who shows up tomorrow at the premiere. So once again, thanks for stopping in. You too, Autumn. Absolutely. Take care. Kim, for sure, you will be there in spirit. I always know that you're there somewhere, even if you just jump in once or whatever. I know you're watching, so it's much appreciated. Take it easy, Victoria. Thank you very much for stopping in. Swedish Mom, if you come back to this, and same thing with you, Fuzzy, and it's, give yourselves a big pat on the back for being here at 3:30 in the morning. Wrathful, have a great night, man. Absolutely, for sure. And Dale, thank you very much. You too, have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Glad you were here. Hope you really enjoyed the story, and I will catch you next time. Keep it creepy.